Or he keeps trying to say like, well, I get it. Nobody cares about journalistic integrity but me. But it's not that. It's your framing of it to try and talk about how Plattner's not that bad of a guy. It's the same energy of the worst thing about Bill Cosby is the hypocrisy. It's like, really? That's the worst thing? Really? Anyways, here's the Ryan Grimm story. Okay? And again, I don't know if I need to put the text on the screen for people to understand something very, very basic, which is it's about presentation. If I was like, hey, could you get me a soda? You're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, here you go. If I was like, hey, you fucking ugly piece of shit that I think should explode, get me a fucking soda, you worthless sack of shit who serves no other fucking purpose. And then you're like, hey, man, I feel like you were being a little bit mean. And I was like, wow, just because I asked you for a soda, incredible. You just can't ask for sodas around here anymore. Presentation matters. Anyone who's telling you otherwise is fucking lying, okay? Presentation matters. I'm being so mature right now, Denims. It's not the fact that he says Politico has a responsibility to victims to report as accurately as possible to ensure that people take her seriously. It's the way that he talks about this fucking glute massage and then launders Plattner's reputation, says they made it seem like he just broke into her house and raped her. And that's not what happened. It's like, what? What? So I'll let you guys listen in.
From its reporting around the Graham Plattner sexual assault allegations we have learned. Let's take a listen to how Jenny Rassicot, the accuser of Graham Plattner, described how the evening began in her interview with Jake Tapper on CNN.
It was a night where him and I were texting back and forth, and he had taken something that I said as an invitation, and that's not how I meant it, and I quickly clarified. And he sent a message back indicating that he would come over, and I said, no, don't come over. Like, I'm not in the mood, don't come over. And I was more stern with that message. And then I didn't hear back from him. So I thought that meant he got the message or gave up on it or whatnot.
Okay, Sagar, so there was no follow-up from Jake Tapper. Mm-hmm. If you listen closely there, that she said, we were texting back and forth, and he took something that I said as an invitation to come over. They've been dating off and on for about 2 years at this point. The follow-up from a normal person at that point is,
what did you say?
What did you say?
Right.
Like, what was the thing that you said to him that he misunderstood? Mm-hmm. Now, let's take a look at how Politico reported this. This is D8. This is how Politico first reported it. So Rassicot told Politico she connected with Plattner on the dating app Bumble in 2019 and had consensual relations with him prior to the night he allegedly assaulted her. That night in late 2021, she said she had exchanged text messages with him and told him not to come over, saying she wasn't in the mood for company. Later that evening, she said she realized when she heard a sound on the stairs that he had let himself into her house, which was unlocked. Plattner came up the stairs, Rassicot said, to where she was on a couch. He got on top of her and kept grabbing her, she said, while she repeatedly told him to stop and that she wasn't interested. Mm-hmm. So, Sagar, you read that, and most people in Washington who read that, they're like, that sounds like he broke in to the house, like uninvited, and then began a violent assault of her. Mm-hmm. Nowhere does Politico mention what she mentioned to CNN there, that she had said something in the text message exchanges that he mistook as an invitation. Mm-hmm. They just say, and elsewhere in the article, they say he was, quote, uninvited. It turns out, and we have learned, that Politico definitively, at the time of publication, knew precisely what Jenny had texted to Graham that he, according to her, mistook as an invitation to come over. And we know this because the Washington Post also interviewed Jenny Rassicot. And Jenny told the Washington Post, because she's being honest. She's laying out all of the details, which is how it should be. You lay out all the details, and then you let the readers, the public, the voters say, okay, here, we have all the different facts. Here's how we interpret this scenario. So good for her for being transparent.
I totally agree with you, and I want to say that up at the top. Yes. This is in no way an attack on her. This is about how I believe that the media has handled this story.
And also, let me just say, the fact that Sagar has to step in to say something, and it's not him saying it, like, this guy is also saving this other guy's ass. He's like, by the way,
she was
truthful from the beginning
about this. She doesn't have the text messages anymore. Plattner apparently doesn't have the text messages anymore, so we're going by her memory of what they are. And to her credit, she divulged the details of the text messages from that evening, and she divulged it to the Washington Post. The Washington Post reaches out to the Plattner campaign for comment. Good for the Washington Post. And in their request for comment, they mention that Jenny had been texting him talking about a massage earlier. And so the Plattner campaign sees this, and they go back to Politico, and they say, apparently there's some more context here about like the back and forth. Do you know about these text messages? The reporter then exchanges messages with the Plattner campaign. Those messages have been now circulating in main politics, in main political circles. I obtained a copy of those. I was able to authenticate
And this is what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like sane people can understand the point that I'm making, because the point that I'm making is very salient. It's very reasonable. It's not at all crazy, the point that I'm making. I'm confused why he even focuses in on the break into her house part, like you just read out loud that he kept touching her after she said to stop. How does any of this change the rape accusation? Insane. If it is only meant to cast some doubt and to paint Plattner as not that bad of a guy. Because the events that transpired when he walked into her home, she describes he walked in, immediately jumped on her on the couch, and she told him, no, stop, get off me, multiple times, and he did not. Like, because, like, everything else can be completely in his favor, but the fact that those events transpired means everything else is irrelevant. Everything else, because guess what? Someone can invite you over explicitly and say, hey, I want you to come and have sex with me now. Come over immediately. I don't care how many children you hit on your way over here drunk driving. You need to come immediately. And then you show up and they're like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Actually, I changed my mind. Could you get off me? And if you didn't stop, that would still be. So the hyper focus on this is just so nonsensical. And then to focus on it in this lens, instead of saying Politico has a responsibility to victims, Politico has a responsibility to make sure that they present everything as well as they can so that people do not cast doubt on victims. Like, none of these details matter, but other people will pretend like they do. And here he is saying the opposite, saying these details matter and Politico should report them correctly. Ryan isn't saying it's not rape. Oh, he's not saying it's not rape. Should we give him a medal? Should we give him a fucking cookie? Oh my God, the bare minimum. Congrats. Yeah, because if he said anything else, his career would be destroyed as a progressive. Hello? Use your brain for a second.
Them with sources with knowledge of them. And here is what the Politico reporter said to the campaign. Jenny Rascott had been, quote, texting Plattner about needing her glute massaged. That detail didn't make our story.
Right.
Glute massage. So within about a half an hour of getting this glute massage text, Plattner is in the house. Now, she says
she followed up.
No, don't come.
And don't come.
Because he texted back. So he's wasted, clearly. He gets this message. I need my glute massage.
Right.
He comes over. He's texts back, I'm coming over. And she's like, wait, don't come over. Then she says, don't come over, don't come over. This is Maine. He's not taking the subway. Like, so he's drunkenly driving over there.
Yes.
Comes into the house, and then it gives. She says he's grabbing her on the couch. Where's
she's saying no?
Right. Where's he grabbing her? Like, is he like immediately starting like the glute massage or whatever?
Right.
Anyway, the Washington Post, to its credit, included a version of the detail. We could put up Washington Post at D7. One night in November or December 2021, she said she texted him to say that she could use a massage. She said she did not intend it as an invitation, but he interpreted it that way, immediately replying to say he would come right over. She said she wrote back twice, telling him not to. The Post was not able to review the alleged messages or independently verify them. Rascott said she later deleted them soon after the incident.
A few years ago.
Post didn't include the glute part, but did mention the massage to their credit. But because the Politico published first, I didn't even know the Washington Post reported on this.
Exactly, and I think that's why this is important. So there's the most important part, and let's just zoom out, because this does potentially explain why a drunken Plattner enters the home.
Right.
And there it is. Why did they spend all this time saying all this stupid fucking bullshit? To launder Plattner's reputation and say, see, so this explains those events, I think. This explains. Plattner didn't just come to show up randomly and rape this woman, all right? And we need to recognize that, okay? Why? You know, for people with a lot of journalistic integrity, I sure see you guys being quite silent on a guy who was literally typing on Reddit how, quote, holy how about people take some responsibility for themselves and not get so up, they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to. Men and women, you make a choice to consume enough of a substance to lose your self-control. So if you don't want to be in a compromising situation, act like an adult for sake. Is a real thing. If you're so worried about it to buy Kevlar underwear, you think you might not get blacked out, fucked up around people you aren't comfortable with. This is what Plattner was writing on Reddit back in the day. It's almost like it's a pattern of behavior from this guy. Right? Isn't that interesting? You know, I feel like Ryan Grimm, I feel like DropSite News, just they didn't do enough good reporting. And they really, they should have reported on this. It's just like, the call is coming from inside the house. I don't understand how, they can explicitly state their intention with this segment, and then people are still like, no, it's about the reporting. It's about good reporting. It's like, it's not about good reporting. If it was about good reporting, they would have covered this shit and said, yeah, this was a pattern of behavior and we should have seen this coming. Because it never was about good reporting. They're lying. I don't know how to explain this. How else do I explain this? He's literally giving away the game
Stops
right
there,
here.
because that's where the rest.
The massage to their credit. But because the Politico published first, I didn't even know the Washington Post reported on
Exactly,
this.
and I think that's why this is important. So there's the most important part, and let's just zoom out, because this does potentially explain why a drunken Plattner enters the home.
Right.
It stops there, because that's where.
Like, if you don't understand, if you don't see this, like, you need to take a step back and truly, genuinely reconsider why you got to that conclusion, the conclusion that you did get to. It's literally giving GamerGate ethics in games journalism. Exactly. No, it's about ethics in games journalism. That's why we have to dox and send rape and death threats to Anita Sarkeesian. That's why we have to do that for game journalism, for integrity and ethics in game journalism. It's like, feels like one of those situations, guy hears himself in the accusation as if they've been in the situation before, doesn't want to feel guilty if he had violated someone's consent. I'm sorry. Also, like, I'm going to say something crazy. You can tell when someone is too drunk. You can tell when someone is way too drunk. People who are blackout drunk can't even walk straight, all right? They can't speak. It's not hard to tell. Even when you're a little drunk, you can still tell when someone else is way too drunk. It's just so, that is not true. Okay, well, I don't know, skill issue on your part. Everybody else here doesn't seem to have a problem with it. This, like, if you're so worried about getting raped, don't get blacked out around other people you aren't worried. What the fuck? No, we should have a society that doesn't rape people who are blackout drunk. Also, can I just say as well, you could be at a bar with friends and some other random stranger that you don't know can drug your drink because they were trying to, like, hook up with you and trying to hit on you, and then you're not interested. And you can get blackout drunk completely out of your control. This, like, just never get blackout drunk ever. It's like, oh, okay, for sure. I didn't think about solving every problem by using solutions that would literally never fucking work. Oh, why didn't I think? Guys, we just need to stop doing crime by placing all the blame on the victims every single time. That would work. Duh. Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, if you want to launder Ryan Grimm's reputation, be my guest, go for it. But I'm not doing that. This is like, the fact that was his first response is like insane to me. And he was like, he tweeted like 10 times about this stupid fucking glute massage. It's just pathetic. It's just so fucking pathetic. Like, I have no words, man. And if you guys want to understand why he's doing all this, here you go.
You've been the same Graham, basically your whole life, and now you're taking that to the kind of Senate race level. And so I want to ask about that, but I want to preface it with a crazy story, which the audience should know. You would be maybe the second bartender serving in Congress, but you would be the first one that I knew when he was a bartender. So Graham...
No, he's my buddy. This guy's my bartender. Stop saying he would have broken in a woman. Okay, and like, what do we, like, she was asking for a glute massage, so like, just like, leave my buddy alone.
Which is a bar on Pennsylvania Avenue near the Capitol. Graham, for people who don't know, Graham bartended at the Tune In, which is a bar on Pennsylvania Avenue near the Capitol, while he was a student at GW, which, to your great credit, you didn't finish, which I think is a kind of feather in your cap. And while there, you worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights at the Tune In. I was often there. I was there basically every Sunday night and some Fridays and Saturdays with some other Washington City paper crew, and then later Huffington Post crew, back before we had kids. And when you jumped in, I reached out to Ned, who was another bartender there who had gone to college with my brother, and my brother and I went to the same school. He was better friends with my brother, but I know Ned well. I was like, Ned, is this the same Graham? And he's like, Graham is running for senator. He sure is. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I hope I tipped well. I hope I left a good impression.
No, I have nothing but good memories, Ryan. So
excellent. I have very few memories.
Wow. Just helping out his buddy, man. Hi, Wormy. Are you here? The guy you've been hanging with. The guy you've been hanging with, huh? Okay, Wormy. Yes. Wormy has been very attached to me. And I think I'm going to eat her. I think I'm going to bake her. And make her into a baked worm. Perhaps a stew. Yes. Yes. So anyways, I think if you think that Ryan Grimm is doing anything other than trying to launder his buddy's reputation, you might just be very naive. And I highly recommend and suggest that you stop letting your personal opinions about Ryan Grimm cloud your judgment. Because as someone who is a huge Ryan Grimm supporter, and as someone who called him the Grim Reaper, and as someone who actually really liked Ryan Grimm, I'm good. I'm good on that. And I would have, to be clear, if he had gone on and said, I expect better out of Politico, they should be more responsible with their platform, and they have to understand that anytime they might get anything mistaken or they exclude any details ever, that gives rape apologists power and it gives them credit. And as far as I'm concerned, Graham Plattner is a disgusting piece of shit, and I didn't know any of this stuff about him. And, you know, my sympathy with the victim. I would have had no problem with that. I would have had no problem. That's totally fine. That's acceptable. But that presentation is it's a completely different presentation, and it is not an acceptable presentation. It is one that actively launders Plattner's reputation. So, every journalist has bias. He should be telling people he personally knows Plattner when he's reporting on them. You know, I just didn't really like that Ryan Grimm was reporting on Plattner's allegation and not disclosing that he was buddies with him beforehand. He just did. This is from a 2025 interview. I pulled that up. Otherwise, no one in here would have known about it. Maybe he should have, I don't know, brought it up himself and said, to be clear, it's possible my judgment is clouded. In this clip that came out days, like the next day. I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't know it until like yesterday, the day before yesterday. I really liked Ryan Grimm too. If all he said was that they just need to include the message that was said because society needs to understand consent can be revoked at any moment or something like that. Instead, it just feels like he's trying to open the door to doubt, and the breaking points comments reflect that. Exactly, correct. Message detail also just so inconsequential. It's just if he wants journalistic integrity, maybe he should have said that. It's because it's not like, again, it's not about the journalistic integrity. He's hiding behind that shield to say what he really wants to say, which is, you know, I just feel like people are just being a little too mean to Graham Plattner and calling him a home intruder rapist, and that's not what he is. He's just, you know, like a normal rapist. A rapist that we should maybe consider to be friends with. You know, your everyday average diet rapist. It's not like he's a home intruder rapist. It's like, all right. Okay. One of the good rapists is the Ryan Grimm message. I hope for anyone who didn't know anything about this situation, I hope that explains it. We did a nice 20-minute detour. And that's why I feel the way that I do. And I really do not hold any ill will. And I know other leftists and other progressives feel more strongly about this than I do. And that I think that their opinions are very valid. But I don't want to bring down any leftists or any progressives. There's not that many progressives that create progressive media that bring people into the leftist landscape. And so I don't want to see any progressives just get destroyed the second that they make one mistake. Like, we're human beings, okay? We're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. And maybe, you know, you were way too deep into the Graham Plattner sauce and you discredited a lot of people and you just wrote off a bunch of stuff. But I just want to see just like accountability and an attempt to try and right the wrong and say that you're going to try and be better in the future and not let your personal biases blind you in the future. And you just really wanted Plattner to win and you really were rooting for him because he felt like such an underdog and whatever. And this is coming from someone who, like, I really like that Plattner said something that I haven't seen any other progressives say, which is that establishment Democrats stiffed Bernie Sanders. Like, I had a lot of respect for him for saying that. I was like, damn, I really want this. I actually, if there was any reason to want this guy to win, it was this. And then I saw like a lot of the other stuff and I was like, I'm just going to stay away from this guy, I think. And then obviously what happened, you know, recently. But I really, you guys already, anyone who watches this stream has been watching the stream for a while. It's really not like this. When it comes to other progressives and other leftists, I don't want to just like burn and again, make everything burn and crash down. Crash and burn. I don't want everything to crash and burn. I think outside of sexual assault, outside of rape, when it comes to speech, Like, I think that there's a lot to be redeemed. I don't think actions, I don't know that you can redeem an action. If you're at the point where you're assaulting people, like, I don't even, like, there's such a massive disconnect there with you as a person. Like, you should be hardwired to not do that. And you're not. So I can't trust you. But, like, if you just make a mistake, you're like, oh, I'm super pro this. And you're like, oh, why did I say that? Like, we've all said stupid shit in our lives, okay? I see stupid shit every day, man. That's fine. I understand. It's all good. So I just want to see some, like, hey, I hear everything you guys are saying. I am going to do my best to, like, be better in the future, etc. Okay, yeah, sure. Water under the bridge. That's totally fine with me. I totally understand that. Kat's China take got more scrutiny than Plattner did. Yes. Dude, Kat Abughazaleh got more shit for having, like, a staffer that was a conservative than Plattner did for having a Nazi tattoo on his chest. That's not to say that we shouldn't have criticized Kat. I understand. Totally valid. We should criticize every candidate and ask for more. But, like, the levels of proportion, like the basic contrition, well, now you're just being irrational. Actually kind of hilarious in retrospect. And DropSite went in so hard on Kat. It was insane. Compared to their coverage so far of Plattner, they've been like, it is with great sadness that Plattner turned out to be kind of not a good guy. So I guess we have to... And towards Kat, they were like, Kat is literally the devil. She is the devil. She literally wants us to go to war with China. Her staffers love capitalism and they love ruining your life. It's like, oh my God. Guys, can we just back up for like a moment there? Whoa. I'm not saying we can't criticize, but like, we're kind of going in like really hard, right? Like, can we not make these criticisms, but just like a little lighter? Because I don't feel like this like outrage is matching the, like, I don't feel like the punishment is matching the crime here. And then the Plattner stuff, it's like, it's just so sad that this guy, this really good guy, would be like a racist. Not like a home invader racist, but like, you know, just like, you know, just like a normal one. It's like, what the? Okay. Weird. But anyways, that's all I'm gonna, that's all I was gonna say, on that. I still have to watch Ryan Grimm on, I saw like half of a clip and then I just closed it immediately. I was like, I just can't watch it. I just can't watch this shit. All right. Even though I'm quite distressed to look at this, fine, we'll watch this. It's captioned, Emma Vigeland lightly pushes back on Ryan Grimm's criticism of Politico not adding the glute massage detail.
There are a lot of people who absolutely do not care about that detail and don't think it's relevant and are okay with it not being included. There are also many people who think that that detail is relevant for his state of mind, and particularly whether or not the implication of a break-in is accurate, which then shapes some of the rest of it. And what I would say to the people who don't think it's relevant,
I would include myself in that camp. So yeah,
right, absolutely, yeah. You don't think it's relevant? That's totally fine. We live in a democracy where the entire public is involved in the deliberation of these questions, and so there are many people who do think it's relevant. Like, is it relevant that he was drunk? Like,
but the disqualifying piece is the rape accusation, not the break.
None of the other stuff is relevant. Do you understand? Like, it's literally not.
Right? So I guess perhaps this absolves him of the break-in, but wouldn't...
The only instance where any of this stuff would be relevant is in like a court of law if she was pursuing any charges against him. And that would be for the judge to determine what the charges exactly and what the sentencing would look like for that. For me, for the only thing I don't care about the break-in, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I don't care. That's like, that is so low on my priority list. Okay? The only thing, the most important thing by like 10,000 miles is that she told him to get off and stop multiple times and he didn't. That's the only thing that matters.
Her saying still, protesting and
like morally. legally, the other details matter for sentencing purposes, but morally, for I think any sane person, the thing that matters is that she was raped and he did not stop despite her asking him to stop.
Saying that it was
Absolutely.
not consensual.
Absolutely. Obviously, if she said, and I thought this was more obvious apparently than it is,
Right.
if you say, I need a massage, let's say you say, come over and give me a massage, and he tries to turn the massage into something more than that, and she says no, and he pushes past it, it's obviously still rape. Like there's zero question about that. But this kind of insistence that the facts aren't really important because of what she says happened in the end, I don't.
Because they are not, because he raped her.
Believe as a journalist, our job is to put the facts out that we have.
You should have uploaded in any of your tweets or in your original segment that you were buddies with Graham Plattner, and he was a well-liked bartender that you were very excited about. You should have, since we're so fact sexual around here, why don't you involve all of the facts then, huh?
And then let the public decide.
Whichever chatter said this literally is GamerGate. I just care about ethics in games journalism. You were so right. Holy shit.
Whether or not those are relevant. Now, some people said, "Whoa, why don't you put in like what she was wearing?" No, that is completely different.
It is not. It's not. This is the equivalent of being like, you guys ever like accidentally like open the door on someone in like a bathroom because it says vacant? It has like the vacant thing, but it wasn't vacant because they didn't lock the door. And they're like, and you're like, oh, sorry. It was open. I didn't know. My bad. I'll just wait. Sorry about that. Versus, I don't know, like opening the door and being like, no, I think I'll stay. Yeah, I think I'll stay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a crazy person. The problem there is not the opening of the door. That's not the problem. No sane person would say, oh, you see, the thing that really mattered was that you didn't knock to make sure that there wasn't anyone in the bathroom. It's like, no, it's just like, that just happens sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you misinterpret a situation and you think that there's like, you know, something sexual that's going to happen. And you're like, and you misunderstand. And the moment that you realize that you misunderstood the situation, you fuck off and you back up. You apologize. Sorry, I misread the situation. My bad. I didn't realize. That's my bad. Sorry. I thought you were, I feel really cringe right now. It's the same energy of the worst thing about Bill Cosby is the hypocrisy. It's like, really? That's the worst thing? Really? So trying to clarify these details that are unimportant to the thing that anyone actually cares about, and being like, it's about journalistic integrity, while actively misrepresenting. And let me see if I can find the tweet, because it was like, it's so insane. To pretend like you care about journalistic integrity, meanwhile, he spent the last year whitewashing his image with regard to Blackwater. This is the DropSite news article, October 31st, 2025. Quote, and this is supposed to be quoting Graham Plattner, "I never worked for Blackwater." Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner says his 6 months in Afghanistan in 2018 as a State Department security contractor revealed how America's wars had become a corporate money grab. He clarified he never worked for Blackwater, but for a hedge fund owned successor that inherited its State Department contracts. They use guys like me with these backgrounds to meet the contract requirements so they could pay us back bare minimum and walk away with the balance. You guys agree? This is like Graham Plattner. This is running defense for Plattner. Most people who are going to read this are going to be like, oh, so he didn't. Okay, so he knew better than to associate with Blackwater. Okay. And then you see this and it's like, oh, all my homies who hate Blackwater have a Blackwater fridge magnet. Oh, all my homies who hate Blackwater have a Blackwater cap. U.S. Marine Corps Machine Gunners Sergeant Graham Plattner says he wears his Blackwater baseball cap just to get a rise out of those who remember the controversial contractor for its heavy-handed tactics in providing security to diplomats and other VIPs as they traveled the mean streets of Baghdad. Oh, we just care about journalistic integrity? Oh, I guess we just failed to recognize and talk about the fact that Blackwater was renamed to Constellis Group and that Graham Plattner worked for them in 2018. In 2018. Oh, but we just care so much about journalistic integrity. Okay? I just care so much about the journalistic integrity and defending my buddy. Okay. All right. Ryan literally said that people that were criticizing Plattner were doing anti-white racism. Like, if you are not seeing these signs, man, if you are so naive to think that this is about journalistic integrity, dude, I need you to know the Tooth Fairy also isn't real. Or Santa Claus. Easter Bunny's real, though. He's chill as fuck. No, that guy, no, he's chill as fuck. He's dope. But the other ones are not real, man. The other ones are not real, okay? Like, fuck off, man. Like, fuck off. And now he's caught in this position where, with his fucking metaphorical pants are down, and he's like, well, listen, it's just like how I feel about journalistic integrity. I guess the journalistic integrity didn't matter when you guys were putting out misleading statements about his time with not Blackwater. All right? I guess you guys weren't intending to do journalistic integrity. I guess that didn't matter as much when you refused to say that you had known him for years, back when he was a bartender. And that's probably why you had spent so much of your effort pushing for him to win. And are now trying to be like, guys. He just like, I just feel like it's fucked up that people think he broke in. Insane. This analysis is totally bereft of context. Plattner was clearly showing support for Blackwater. Yep. And the other thing, too, is, like, he keeps deciding to say, or he keeps trying to say, like, well, I get it. Nobody cares about journalistic integrity but me. But it's not that. It's your framing of it to try and talk about how Plattner's not that bad of a guy. He's not a super duper giga. He's just, run of the mill. And again, if he had just said clear, why am I holding this cup of empty tea? If he had just said clearly, listen, Politico needs to be like better about this because this is how people discredit rape victims, and I'm tired of seeing rape victims get discredited. I don't care whether he's a super rapist or a normal medium level experienced rapist. I don't care if he broke in or not, but other people are going to use this as an opportunity. Politico needs to be better. But that's not what he did. He's like, and it must be, I just need everyone to understand he didn't break in. He just raped the woman, okay? But he didn't break in. All right? It's like, what is this framing? What the fuck is this framing? It was casual raping, Your Honor, not competitive raping, okay? What the fuck? Jesus. I heard Ryan was a friendly acquaintance of Plattner. I mean, yeah. It's just so gross, man. Yeah, why should I care that she wanted a message? That this is so important. It's so bullshit. The other thing, too, is it makes the left look so bad that we have other people on the left running anything that can even remotely be considered as cover. Like, we should be able to immediately disavow. Definitely seems like it's a good reminder. Chud tendencies don't vanish just because you've got nominally left-wing beliefs. Yeah. I mean, everyone should have disavowed him at the mercenary with the Nazi tattoo point. People don't like to hear it, but yeah. After seeing what it was, I'm going to chalk it up to people who are not, you know, the scene in Succession that I like to show you guys where it's like the guy who's like, just want to make sure, how many times have you, like, sorry, not having, have you read Mein Kampf? And the other guy's like, yeah, a couple times. It's like, a couple. What do you mean by that? A couple times. So, like, I don't fault leftists too much, especially the people who didn't know the Totenkampf. I don't fault them too much because if you didn't know it, there's this assumption like, because you're not a super duper fucking Nazi and you don't know every Nazi symbol because, you know, you're not a Nazi. I understand how those people were like, oh, I literally didn't know like that was. I thought it was like super niche. And since I didn't know, I believe that he didn't know either. But like, and I give those people credit. I understand. Because it's hard to visualize that someone else could be crazy when you're sane-ish. Or like, it's hard to imagine that. So I understand. However, it's a combination of all the things that made it bad. Okay? All right? All right? If you did know what it was, and you wrote it off, and you're like, okay, Maybe he didn't mean it. It's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, that's... When the tattoo is bigger than Denim's camera. Shut up, shut up. I also don't fault people for believing that he changed over the years, but everything just keeps compounding and only weird people are still running interference for him. Yep. It was a Blackwater part, especially for me, especially at the age that he went, but I was still willing to take a utilitarian perspective on it. I think that's where most people were, you know? Yeah. Plattner doesn't come from like a hard scrabble, poor background, so 4 tours in the Marines and 6 months with a PMC is very much a choice. Everything after that should have been assessed in that light. I do think anyone who knew about the 6 months with Blackwater, with Constellis or whatever, in 2018 and ignored that, it's like, dude, that is a lot of denial, I think. What was your take on the 5-field accusation in the New York Times? I mean, that all lines up with someone who's a fucking rapist. I mean, I believe that the guy who would rape a person, who had Reddit posts talking about how women need to take responsibility for getting blackout drunk, and if someone rapes them, it's their fault. I do think that that guy would also tell a woman, yeah, if an intruder came in, I would rape them. Not in a sexual way, not in a gay way, but in a dominance way. Yeah, no, that lines up. No, he would only rape someone. He would never say that he would rape someone. It's like, that would be ridiculous, yeah. I think everything Fifield said was right. And also, like, I have to say, it was crazy because, like, I'm assuming a lot of people didn't read what Fifield was accusing him of. She said that he, like, twisted her arm behind her back and, like, shoved her in a room and then closed it on her and said to calm down and, like, locked her in there. Like, that's insane. Like, that's a horrific... That's insane. That's insane. Oh, Your Honor, she had to do that. Or, sorry, he had to do that to her because... she was gonna ask someone else for a glute massage, so he had to stop her in that moment. She almost, you know, no one's been talking about that. No one's been talking about that. We got to talk about that. So crazy. I think also a lot of men never consider the fact that you can rape someone you're dating. They see it as a crime vagrants do on the street, not like, but like the vast majority of rapes are done by people that the victims know. Like assailants usually know the victims. So yeah. And then also like there was a good point that someone had brought up that it was the complete lack, and this should have set everyone off, and I can't believe so many people missed it. I just stopped touching the Graham Plattner stuff because I was like, I can't. Like, this is not a candidate I can support. Like, this is just, no. This is a bomb waiting to explode. But someone else had brought up a great point that he was so unapologetic about his time in the U.S. military, and that his stance wasn't, you know, I regret my actions and I regret engaging in these imperialist wars and I regret every minute I had spent, and I want to have better reform in this country so people could understand like what are the awful things that our military does, and they don't feel like they need to join the military, that they're not disillusioned or illusioned into believing that our military is this amazing thing, or even go in a different direction that's like super safe, which is, it's sad that the poverty draft exists and people join the military and they get like illusioned by like, oh, I'm serving my country or whatever. And maybe if we had better social systems and like safety nets, people wouldn't have to worry about a poverty draft. Like, instead of doing that, he's like, let's get veteran rights. Let's get like stuff for veterans. Veterans who serve our country are great, and we need to make sure that they are taken care of in this. It's like, yeah. Wait, do you want to talk about your time at all in service? Do you want to? Anything? No? No, okay. No, all right. Except he's anti-war. Don't you see him saying it in interviews? Yeah, and then I also see him saying he wishes that he could have gone to Guam, and he wished he could have gone to like 10 other different places and served in combat. And I'm sorry, your actions speak louder than, but I'm anti-war, just in case you guys were curious. Yeah. It's why people roll their eyes when Ethan Klein says like, no, guys, I really don't like it. It's bad. It's like, dude, you're sitting there, like, you're talking about going to visit Israel with your family and to show everyone how amazing it is and how beautiful it is. You can't do both of those things at the same time, big dog. They're like contradictory. And it's the same thing with Graham Plattner. It's like you can't. He's literally talking about wishing that he could have participated in more imperialist wars, and then also saying, "But I am anti-war, by the way." Like, and then he actually did go to war, and his takeaway was, "I love combat. Combat is the most fun thing ever. I wish I could do more combat. I wish I could get sent to more places and kill more people. Not because I like killing or anything. No. I just like the combat." It's like, huh? What do you say? What do you mean by that? He also never said that he's anti-war. He said he's anti-pointless wars. Oh, of course. Pointless there is doing a lot of work. Denims, you just don't understand how great combat is unless you've killed an innocent child before. Sorry, you're so right. I need to go enlist, murder some children, murder some brown people, and then I'll understand what's so great about combat. You're so right. No, you're totally right. Then it'll all make sense, and I'll be like, wow, maybe he was right. Maybe murdering random people is fun.